Hello and welcome to this week's Geeky Grapplers Podcast. I should say the first episode of the Geeky Grapplers Podcast. My name is Ian. I am the host for this week, and I am joined by my wonderful three co-hosts, that being Lulu, Flipper, and Breaker, as we grapple with issues concerning both pro wrestling and geekdom. So without further ado, fellas, how are we doing?
Pretty good. We should probably introduce ourselves individually.
Yeah, that would be a really good start for episode 1, wouldn't it?
They won't recognise our voices yet. So, hello. I am Lulu. I am this voice.
You are indeed this voice. That is your voice.
That do be my voice.
Hello, I am Breaker. This is my voice.
Excellent. That is indeed a great voice.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? It's Flips, and this is what I sound like, token American, so...
Yeah, the only American in the group. Don't worry about it. It'll work. Obviously, that would leave me as being Ian, as I've already said. Great, cool. So this is a new podcast that we're just kind of doing for the laughs, for the giggles,
For the
bants. That's what I was looking for. It's primarily wrestling based, but we're kind of rolling with kind of any form of like geekdom to kind of like incorporate most of our interests, because like the main interest we all have is wrestling. Is how we kind of all came together in the first place, and we kind of like, you know, over the last few years we kind of find new things that we're all into, and we just start sharing it. So we thought, you know what, let's share it with everyone else, and especially with like
there are really terrible takes and opinions that no one will agree with.
No, of course, that's the internet, isn't it?
Especially with each other, where we'll fight and argue.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially wrestling Twitter.
Oh god, yes. Oh god, yes. And I mean, the main idea is to kind of bring people who were kind of like us, who were kind of interested in the wrestling sphere, and just kind of go, hey, you know, you might enjoy this wrestling malarkey. Let's guide you through it, and maybe you can give it a try. And
you know, you might have heard some things about it. You might have heard of some names or some companies or some, you know, of some good matches. You might have even watched it at some point.
Yeah.
But you might not want to be. You know, you might want to understand where people in the fandom come from it.
Yes,
What
absolutely.
their perspectives are.
Yes.
And also, we'll talk about other stuff besides.
Of course, given the several ideas for segments that we have that we will be debuting throughout the episodes. But for today's episode, to really jump us in the deep end, we're going to start off with what was a few days ago for us was the New Japan Pro Wrestling event Wrestle Kingdom 15. In which
and the subsequent New Year's Dash show. Yeah, I mean, I think we might as well start off with we'll go for like each night as they split it into 2 nights. What did you guys think of night 1? Let's start with Lulu. Night 1 was a mess. It was very weirdly balanced and very poorly paced, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
It was not as good as Night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom last year, and it was very much either a 2-match or a 3-match card, depending on how you felt about certain wrestlers.
Yeah. Flips, your thoughts on Night 1?
Well, I mean, Ian, you obviously know how I feel about certain matches on that card and how excited I got.
Oh, but, for sure.
I can definitely see where our friend Lou is coming from with that. Though, I must say, I think, enjoyed it more than I felt that it was too weird. It was overall enjoyable, and I think it really set up what would happen in Night 2 fairly decently.
Oh, definitely. Breaker, your thoughts on Night 1?
I thought the first half was really slow and kind of almost boring, but the second half kind of like raised it up, like raised the excitement up, and to go into Night 2.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of of the same opinion with all you guys, where like it definitely felt like after the first half of the show that was really slow, the second half kind of really jumped into it and just, you know, was really, really freaking good, if I must admit. So going through match by match for night one, we started off with the 21-man New Japan Rambo to determine to determine who will challenge for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy, of which was held by favorite boy Toru Yano. I'm sure his name will come up many a times on this podcast, as he is one of our, specifically Flips's favorite wrestler. I think it's safe to say.
He's definitely in our top 10 as well.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. But that was won by Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, Bushi, and the aforementioned Toru Yano, who then went on to night 2 to face each other to see who won the big trophy.
Okay, can we talk about how Toru Yano won? Because
Absolutely, that was the best part of the match. Because I think the match itself was serviceable, but I think it was
decent 20-man rumble, basically.
Yeah, basically it was bog standard.
There was some nice spots. Hanare got that really nice sequence before he got eliminated.
Yeah,
that was fun.
The Chase Owens being absolutely terrified of Minoru Suzuki was also a lovely highlight.
Yeah, and the young lions of Yotsuji Uemura and Gabriel Kidd all trying to beat up Fale. Yeah, you're Ian's best boy, Gabriel Kidd.
Gabriel Kidd.
Almost straight away.
Oh yes. But yeah, the finish was almost fantastic because while Toru Yano was making his entrance as the last man, Bad Luck Fale was just throwing out the young lions, but as he throws out the last young lion, it's then announced that the match is over because there's only 4 competitors left. So Toru Yano didn't even enter the match fully.
Didn't even get into the ringside area.
Exactly. He got to the barrier and then stopped because, oh wait, I've won! Hooray! Which, that got us in stitches. That was such a good end to the Rumble. That made it such a memorable Rumble just for that.
Yeah, we should preface, seeing as this is a pre-show match, but we will spoil all match results in any review that we do.
Oh, of course.
I believe that is unavoidable with the territory we're currently in.
Oh, definitely. And moving on to the first main match of the night, being Hiromu Takahashi versus El Fantasmo, who was the Super J Cup winner. Hiromu Takahashi being the Best of the Super Juniors winner. And Takahashi took the win in that one, in what we all kind of believe to be a really weirdly paced a really paced
match.
It's a weird junior match and a weird opening match.
Because for people who aren't, people who don't really know much about the junior heavyweights, they're usually the fast-paced group. They're meant to be, is it safe to say, the flippy dudes most of the time?
Yeah, they definitely should be.
Yeah, they're meant to be the high-flying, really, fast-paced.
When we get on to night 2, you'll see our comparison of why we were so surprised by this match.
Absolutely.
Because this match was slow, especially for knowing what these two can do in the ring.
Yeah, definitely.
It was very spot heavy, and then it was basically just going from a big move to a big move with not much in between.
I mean, the in-ring wrestling itself was fantastic. What they actually did spot-wise was brilliant. But like you say, it really did feel like it was hit this big sequence, nothing. Hit this big sequence, nothing. And it was just that for the entire 18-minute match that they had. But yeah, it kind of set off the night in a very weird mood because we were all very excited going into it, and we all just kind of came out of that match being, that was good. The excitement didn't continue, which is really weird for a opening match. The opening match should very much be the let's go, we're so excited for the rest of the show, yeah. But yeah, any other thoughts on that match?
I mean, I can't really remember. There was a couple. What were any of the massive spots in that?
I remember the Phantasmo tightrope moonsault. That was
neat.
mad.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like again, as we said, it didn't feel like a complete put together match. It felt more like they decided on a series of spots and just went between them.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, it then moved on to the IWGP Tag Team Championships, the Heavyweight Division Tag Team Championships, as Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa defeated
of Bullet Club
defeated Dangerous Tekkers of Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. of Suzuki-gun. In a match was in my notes we called serviceable, which I think is still a very fair assumption of that match.
Yeah, it was. I think. Would you agree, Breaker and Flitz, that it was basically the most standard tag match you could put on?
Yeah.
It was, yeah, which was kind of a bummer with just exactly how good some of the wrestlers are. Because going into like a ZSJ match, I think I expected a lot more grappling, a lot more, submission stuff than we actually got into that match.
So again, we're quite high on specifically Dangerous Tekkers. I think, like, as I've said to you guys before, Taichi is definitely one of my favorites in New Japan just because of him. He's just really good.
And Zach is one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love tech wrestling.
Absolutely. It was a very odd match because, again, after the first match, we were expecting it to pick up, but then it kind of didn't. And I think as well, what didn't help with that match was the ending, which was a good ending, but but we expected it to be a different story, because the ending was Tama Tonga stealing the Iron Claw of Taichi and hitting him with it for the win.
Which, for people who've not seen New Japan Pro Wrestling, is literally an aluminium foil covered like finger that he puts on his forefinger and middle finger and then hits people with.
Yes, and it's like the most dangerous move in New Japan. Like, you do not get up after that, basically.
It's like going for brass knuckles in any other thing.
We were kind of.
I was gonna say like the mandible claw, but like more deadly.
Yeah, definitely a more deadly. And he doesn't need to put it in his mouth. He could just like whack you with it on the side of the head. And you're done. And yeah, I think what we expected is because the story leading up to Wrestle Kingdom, specifically in the G1 that was a few months back, we expected Taichi to finally use the Iron Claw because he didn't use it for the entire G1. And he usually uses it like semi-regularly to like win big matches. I think that's safe to say.
He uses it to cheat fairly frequently.
Oh, definitely, because that's what he is.
And for those of you who don't know, the G1 is essentially a month-long wrestling event where each wrestler will have many matches, and we didn't see it used once.
Yeah, I think he had like, was it 9 matches?
It's 9 matches each.
9 matches each, and he didn't use it. He didn't use it once, and there was always like occasions where he'd look at it like after the match, where he was like, "Oh, I could have won if I'd used it," and it was as if they were telling a different story, but then just didn't do it. They just went for the, "Oh, we'll just let God use it and win," which
because Tama stole it and has kept it.
Stole it.
Yes, he stole it.
Yeah, I think this is just endemic of New Japan doesn't know what to do with tag teams. It never really has done, and it never seems to ever get past giving them to God because they're reliable.
Yeah,
it's symptomatic of they just don't handle the tag division as well as they could do.
Yeah, which is definitely something I've learned because I've only started watching New Japan like a lot more frequently since last year when they came back in the New Japan Cup. And I know Lulu, you've been watching it for... You watch it on and off, like you keep up with it more than what we did.
Yeah, I certainly did, because I mean, I've watched... That was the first G1 I'd seen... It was the second G1 I'd seen in full, and it was like I'd watched quite a bit more of just in general New Japan matches prior to middle of 2020 when they returned.
Yes.
Which is when you decided, hey, they're doing the New Japan Cup and I want to watch this more.
Yes, definitely. I'm very happy we did, because we all bonded over the G1 and New Japan even more.
We certainly did.
We certainly did. Moving on to the next match, which was definitely a disappointment for myself just because of what it could have been. We had a certain Kenta boy from Bullet Club taking on Satoshi Kojima of Bread Club.
Bread Club isn't a thing anymore.
Oh, is it not a thing anymore? I've been saying Bread Club for ages.
I mean, I think he still sort of half uses it, but I don't really know if he doesn't come out to it. I don't believe.
Right. Yeah. Why? The reason I said it was kind of disappointing for what it could have been is because originally this match was going to be Kenta versus Juice Robinson, which Juice Robinson is my absolute favorite wrestler in New Japan, like hands down, just because of how charismatic he is, how flamboyant he is, and just everything about him screams like what I love in wrestling. And unfortunately, he got injured. I can't remember what the injury was.
It's an orbital bone fracture in his wrist.
Oh yeah, which is bad.
Yeah.
So obviously he got switched out with Kojima, which this is absolutely no knock on Kojima at all. He is a perfectly good wrestler.
Yeah, Kojima is a good wrestler.
Yeah, but this match, I think this was like the low point of night one for me personally. I don't.
I think it absolutely was for all of us. We were dead silent watching this match.
Yeah, we were like, we kind of like took the odd no. We weren't particularly not particularly invested in the match. And the match was fine, but like you say, it just didn't grip us at all, basically.
Yeah, and it did leave a real sour taste when you're going into it knowing that you're now halfway through the card, and the best match was a decent at best tag match, especially with how good tag team wrestling has been getting at the moment. Like tag wrestling over 2020 and 2019 is really amped up because of AEW.
Yes, definitely.
So the fact that that's the best match on the halfway through a New Japan card is a bit disconcerting to me. Thoughts, everyone?
Yeah, thoughts on Kenta Kojima. Oh, by the way, Kenta did win that match. I don't think I actually said who won that match.
Yeah,
he kind of signed up with we were just all quiet and probably doing something else during that match.
Oh, I don't know about you. I thought you were taking notes.
It was only like a 14-minute match as well. That's a short match for Wrestle Kingdom.
After throwing, did we mention that this is for the right to challenge the United States Championship?
I did not mention that. Thank you very much.
Also, apparently, John Moxley did a promo warning whoever won that.
Yeah, he did. There was a little vignette before the match.
Yeah, we accidentally skipped that when we watched it.
Oh no, we didn't. It was definitely
it was up. It was on.
Yeah, it was a quick promo. It was a very quick promo, but it was nice to see John Moxley back on
New Japan.
Yeah.
Which he hasn't been since last year's New Beginning in Sapporo.
Oh Jesus!
Where he fought Minoru Suzuki to retain the US title.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's how pandemic hours.
Yeah. Bells toll for pandemic hour.
Yeah. Kenta's had this briefcase now since I think like either July or August.
Yeah, he's just been carrying.
Because he had it before the G1, so it must have been before September. So it's July, August time. He's had the briefcase that he won by beating David Finlay in New Japan Strong in America, and he's still not been able to use it yet. And it's just, I want my boy. I want Kenta.
You want your boy Kenta?
I want to see him fight Mox.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fantastic match once it happens. Like, there's no ifs or buts about it. It's gonna be amazing. But moving on to the second half of night one, which I think was very safe to say delivered so much more than the first half did. Starting
definitely
off,
the stronger half.
Definitely a stronger half. If unless you really care about any of the matches on that first half, besides the Rumble, which is just a fun Rumble, I'd say skip to the either the fifth or the sixth match on the list.
Well, I would definitely add the fifth match to that because it was Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Great O'Khan, who debuted at the end of the G1 or like just before the end of the G1 to help Will Osprey.
Yeah, it was at the last day of the G1, so it was the day 19 of the G1.
Yes, because Will Osprey was taking on Kazuchika Okada. That's the first name I've messed up on this podcast, and it's not going to be the last.
You're doing pretty well so far.
You're very
it's all
lucky.
Japanese.
You are very lucky. I have got Tanahashi and Takahashi right, because as these guys know, I can never get them the right way round. I always say Hiromu Tanahashi and Hiroshi Takahashi, and they always pull me up on it.
And it gets even better when you introduce Pimp Club leader of Yujiro Takahashi.
Yeah. Everyone has the same name. No.
But yes, Tana Great-O-Khan.
This match was a great, okay, we're getting more exciting, because Tanahashi is one of the best New Japan wrestlers to
He's the
wrestle.
ace for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. And Great-O-Khan, we have been so high on Great-O-Khan since he debuted, just because of the way he debuted, and very specifically the amazing double-handed chops he does, where he just
His Mongolian
screams.
chops are amazing.
Yeah, every single chop, he just makes this battle cry scream as he chops them, and it pops us every time. It is so funny.
For reference, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, popping is it's just like excitement. It's like a cheer, right?
Yes,
it's something we really find. It's both amusing but also cool.
Yes,
because
definitely.
It's so over the top. Like, his gimmick is really over the top. Everything about his character is extremely, but it all works together.
Yes,
it's OTT, but it all works together. I'm stealing from Trash It. It's the synergy. It's the synergy of all that.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. He's a really great big man wrestler for New Japan to have, because he uses his size well.
You can tell he's having the most fun time with that gimmick as well.
Oh yeah, he's.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Life.
Yeah.
I'll move this question to Flips. Do you think Great-O-Khan looks bad for losing at Wrestle Kingdom?
I don't think it was necessarily something that made him look amazing. Obviously, losing is difficult to do. I don't necessarily know if losing to Tanahashi is necessarily something that'll make you look bad. I think that he definitely gave a strong showing, and I think that's the best that you can try to do sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely safe to say he looked good in defeat.
He definitely did look good in defeat, because there were quite a few times where it looked like he could have won, or like he was battering Tana down.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Moving on from that, we have the leader of the newly formed faction, the Empire, Will Osprey, taking on aforementioned Kazuchika Okada.
Just before we do move on, we should say we really enjoyed that last match, and it definitely picked up our enthusiasm for watching it, because we were so hyped going in. The Rumble was great, and then those matches dragged us down step by step. And then as soon as we got to this, we were right back up. And also, we should mention Great-O-Khan is a fellow member of the Empire, like Will Osprey.
Yes,
he debuted as basically his enforcer and bodyguard.
Thank you very much for that. You're going to make a much better host than I am when that eventually happens. We're moving on to this match. Okada defeated Will Osprey in a 35-minute, I think it's safe to say, war of a match. This was, for me, my favorite match of night one, by a long shot.
This was an excellent match.
It was very hard for me to try and write notes for this match, because I was so ingrained in watching the match. It's one of those moments where you sit down and just watch the match, and nothing else matters except this match and this story going on. And
I think what really differed it for us as well was we were sat there because we'd just seen Great-O-Khan lose, and because we want to see the Empire do something interesting, we were really invested in Osprey winning. Even though we don't personally really like Osprey as a group, we all were quite invested in seeing him win against Okada and establish his faction. So we were all a bit surprised when he lost. However, we sort of. I think the fact that it was the Rainmaker, it was Okada's like proper finisher, finishing it off. That
and not that other finisher.
The money clip. Yeah. For context, in the G1 climax, Okada decided. Oh no, this was as far back as the New Japan Cup.
He didn't use it in the New Japan Cup.
He stopped using the Rainmaker, which, in simplest terms, is just a hold the arm, push them away, and just hit them with your arm as hard as possible. Into a submission called the money clip, which was just kind of like a choke hold. There wasn't really much. It was just a choke hold using the guy's arm, his own arm, to choke him out, and it was just crap. There's no other way to describe it.
Sleeper hold,
and he just won matches with it, but like he did not use the Rainmaker from the New Japan Cup in June to Wrestle Kingdom Night 1, where he beat Osprey with it. And I think that gave us the, oh my god, he used it finally.
It almost made it all worth it. Like, it genuinely was. It took me by such surprise that I wouldn't have gone if that was a move that he was constantly using during that time.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know if that means not using it during that entire period was the right choice.
Yeah. It was a really good pop to like to get the crowd going and get us, because we've missed it. The last time we've seen Okada use the Rainmaker was the last time he used it as to like finish someone off, as far as I can tell, would have been Ibushi at last year's Night 1 when he beat Ibushi.
Yeah.
I can't recall him using it since then, because obviously he lost to Naito on Night 2, and then since then he didn't use the Rainmaker. So as far as I can remember.
Yes. Yeah, and I think if there was one spot from the match that I would watch again, other than the New Japan, not the New Japan, sorry, the Rainmaker coming back, I think it was Will Ospreay's suplex onto the table, which oh my god, it was fantastic. So around the ring there are barricades, which are basically just like, how would you describe them? Help me.
they're basically queue line barricades. If you've ever queued up for like a concert venue or anything,
I was gonna say
they're big metal bars,
basically. Yeah. And behind them are the announce tables, where you've got like the Japanese commentary, the English commentary, the timekeeper, ring announcers, all the like behind the scenes kind of dudes. And Osprey, in a moment of either madness or genius, decided to stand on one of these tables with Okada on the other side of the barricade, lift him up in a suplex, and drop him sideways through the table next to him. And it was picture perfect. It was millimeters from Okada just either missing the table completely or going back first into this fence. And I would have been so scared to see that happen.
Yeah, it would have been nasty either way. Either it's a hard bump on the floor or a hard bump on the railings, and it's not good if either way for him.
But I think it was done almost perfectly.
Yeah, basically. The finishing sequence was also really good.
Yes,
in this, it's one of the it's a New Japan trademark that they do really, really good finisher teasing sequences at the end of matches. But I think this is probably one of the best because, again, none of us saw the Rainmaker coming.
Yeah. I think if Osprey had lost to the money clip, I think I'd have been more disappointed. But I think because it was the Rainmaker, that definitely like took away how sour the defeat felt like.
It truly made it look like he took Okada as far as he could.
Definitely.
Yeah, and basically looked like he forced him to use it, basically.
Yes.
And considering what we know is coming in Night 2 and in New Year's Dash, they're clearly setting something up with these losses for the Empire.
Yes, we will definitely get to them when we talk to New Year's Dash.
Before that, though,
Before that, we have the main event, which was our favourite child, Kota Ibushi, taking on...
he's nearly twice our age.
Well, he is our favourite child. We know this. Come on. He is
You have to protect Kota Ibushi.
yeah, he attacked.
Well, he won't.
We protect, we attack. But most importantly, he is cute. He took on...
More importantly, he landed on his neck.
Yes. Okay. I think we've taken that to the peak of that joke. Definitely. He took he took on Tetsuya Naito, who was the current IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion at the time. But after a half an hour war, that's not the case anymore, and Kota Ibushi defeated him to finally win the Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championship.
And become God.
God.
Because that's having 2 bits of metal, that means you're God.
Yeah. That's how it works, right? Like,
yeah.
In Greek times, yes.
But again, I don't have many notes for this match, but again, it was brilliant. It was
Ibushi and Naito have great in-ring chemistry.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you've seen any of the other matches with each other, they're great wrestlers. They know each other inside and out. They're very willing to take bumps in this match and do risky things with each other that I don't think most people would do in this kind of match.
Definitely.
And yeah,
taking a foot sign on the outside of the ring.
Oh god, yeah, that was
yeah. You don't get many people who would like willingly be backstage and go, "Hey, you want to do this thing where you might die?" There's not many people who would be able to say that and go, "You know what? Just because it's you, I'll do it."
Or was it Ibushi who did the Hurricane Rana where he did it off the apron straight to the floor and they both landed on the floor?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was like the same as Osprey, where it was like millimeters from going like horrendously wrong for both men.
Indeed. Because like, didn't Naito land like right next to the barricade as well?
Yeah, he like bounced and his leg like wrapped around one of the barricade like pieces, and it did not look nice whatsoever. But
it certainly did.
But New Japan wrestlers are made of actual bricks, so he just kept going. This was like halfway through the match. Yeah, he still had half the match to go, and he did it. He was fantastic. Definitely something to think about from the blow off of this match was, what do you guys think of Naito's reign as the double champion after like the amazing like climax of the story that was Naito winning at Wrestle Kingdom 14? Did he have a reign that lived up to this amazing story?
Well, I think that obviously he was severely limited by what happened shortly after Wrestle Kingdom, which is, the world started going into quarantine, and that really did cut down on the talent NJPW actually had active at that time. So I believe, well, it was the best that it could have probably been. It was severely hampered by just, you can only have the people that were at Japan at that exact moment actually wrestling.
And even then, they weren't open for 3 months.
Yeah.
Between March and the 15th of June, New Japan was not even filming shows at all.
Yes. They just straight up cancelled everything and was just like, we'll wait until it gets better and we have like a better game plan. I think that definitely helped out when they came back and were able to have crowds eventually. It was very good. I think that was also a really good thing that we should just mention about the whole Wrestle Kingdom, is it was just nice that they had a crowd. Like, we're getting is it safe to say, I feel like sometimes I get sick of seeing like only like the odd few crowd members or that really stupid Thunderdome that WWE have, where it's just a bunch of TV screens in front of you. So I think
we should say now, as you might be able to tell by the fact that we started our podcast with Wrestle Kingdom, we probably won't be talking much about WWE.
Yes,
we're all very much independent wrestling fans.
Yes,
and when we don't normally watch WWE outside of NXT. Occasionally,
I sometimes watch it.
And the WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll talk about Mania.
I sometimes watch it, but like, with the stuff now that's going on it, I kind of losing interest.
Yeah. There's got to be something on Raw and SmackDown for me to go, oh right, I need to watch Raw and SmackDown, and that's
SmackDown's doing the best so far.
Oh yeah, SmackDown's doing fantastic, but don't give them positive like feedback. We just said we're not going to talk about them.
They are completely valid things to watch if you want to get into wrestling. However, we don't personally view them as what we like. So I am a massive fan of New Japan. I also like AEW. I don't know about what you want to say about yourselves, but
I think
that's where I stand.
This is definitely like a podcast episode, like a very early podcast episode where we are going to talk about like our styles of wrestling that we really enjoy and like what shows cater to that for us.
Because that is something you have to keep in mind. Wrestling, it's an art form at the end of it all, and there are so many different ways it can be expressed, and so many different types of ways you can compete, different matches, different spots you can do, and while all of them are valid, obviously, everyone has their own opinions.
Yeah.
But with that, we then...
So, do you want to basically give an overall opinion of... Oh, actually, do you want to mention Jay's promo after the match?
Yes. Jay...
And then we'll give it an overall opinion on the night one that we watched.
I don't specifically remember much about the promo. I think the main premise was every time Ibushi has been close to winning something, like winning the heavyweight title or the Intercontinental title, it's always been Jay White who's ruined it for him. So basically, Jay White was going, I'm going to do it again. Watch out.
He's always been Ibushi's spoiler. Like, the G1 this year, Ibushi won. Immediately afterwards at... What pay-per-view was it? It's genuinely slipped my mind. Whatever the pay-per-view was, Jay took the briefcase off him for the first time ever.
Yes.
Any G1 briefcase holder who's had to defend the right to challenge has had the right to challenge taken off them by someone else.
Yeah.
With what was a really great pin. Like, it was a fantastic roll-up pinfall. It looked great.
I think that definitely gave us a lot more hype as well for night 2, the next night, because that made us think like, ooh, is Jay White going to spoil him again? Like, that could legitimately happen. Because I think that's a big thing about New Japan is it's never obvious. It's rare that it's obvious who's going to win a match. Because, it would be great to see Ibushi finally beat the spoiler. But it's also great for Jay White to continue spoiling him. So I think I love that kind of like not knowing where we're going to end up at the end of this. And again, it draws you into the matches that much more.
And it was similar to last year's Wrestle Kingdom, where we had Naito entering night one with nothing, leaving with the IC title and the right to challenge Okada the next night, and you're going, but Okada's always been the spoiler.
Yes.
And it's this kind of constant reflective storytelling that's been really good in New Japan.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what would you say about night one overall then?
I think it's definitely a show of two halves. I think the second half, like from Tanahashi Great-O-Khan onwards, was a fantastic night. I think if you could have split the first half of that show and just not had it on, I would have loved the show. But I think that first half really brought us down. I think it's safe to say that I can say for everyone that like Kenta Kojima really brought us down.
I would agree with that.
It's not even their fault as well. It was just like...
Again, the Rumble was good, the tag match was decent, but it wasn't what I want from Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
And Kenta Kojima was good. It was just like... It was weirdly just boring. I don't even want to say boring. It was just... Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing to invest in, I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah. I feel like if that match had been against Jews, and it had been longer, because it would have been longer, we'd probably be saying it was either the Dark Horse match of Wrestle Kingdom, because it would have been overshadowed by the main events, or probably one of the top matches of it.
Absolutely.
Because we like, Ian loves Juice, I love Kenta, so we'd have both been really into it. And
if it was,
they're both fantastic wrestlers.
If it was similar to their G1 match from last year, it would have been like brilliant. Like the G1 match they had was fantastic. Your points on this one, Flips? On just night one in general?
I think that even though, like, you know, there were some matches that weren't as strong as others, I think overall it's a really strong night, and I don't think the lows bring down the highs. It's definitely better overall. There is much to be gained from watching it, I believe.
Yes, we definitely came out of the show enjoying night one, but I think that definitely helped with the second half being the better part of the show. Like, if you can end on a high, you can the rest of the show basically doesn't need to be remembered as much.
Definitely, yeah. If we didn't have these really, really strong matches at the end, I don't think I'd be saying it. But yeah, I believe overall it was a good night.
Yeah, and with that, we move on to night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, which was literally the next day. So, moving on to night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, and I think for like a general idea of the show, I think it was safe to say better than night 1. Yeah, am I right in saying better than night 1?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
yeah.
Overall, definitely.
Sweet. But starting off that entire card, maybe that should be what I say, was the King of Pro Wrestling 2021.
We should vote. There were 2 dark matches on this from Stardom.
There was.
We couldn't see them because we were watching a New Japan World.
Yes.
So, and they just weren't on.
Yes, unfortunately.
We didn't see them. I hope they were good.
So, yeah, moving on to the Fatal 4-Way of the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy was Toru Yano defeating Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, and Bushi. And this was, I would say, a much better opening than Takahashi Phantasmo, just because of the pace of it. I think it was very safe to say that the pace of the match was much better for like an opening match. Like, the opening match needs to be a fast-paced affair, and I think it's safe to say it's definitely safe to say that was definitely the case in this Fatal 4-Way match.
I mean, it's a Toru Yano comedy match.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly, and it was amazing. And I mean, there's usually when you have 2 Bullet Club members as Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale on the same team, you can kind of see in advance what you're going to get, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. There was the exact amount of infighting you want to see, and it was amazing.
Absolutely. I think this is the best time for you to talk about Toru Yano, because I think that's a great introduction to like your kind of wrestling you enjoy.
I mean, you know, when you win with a double low blow and then pinning a guy who's already on the ground, it says a lot about you as a character. And
sure.
What it says to me is that you are an amazingly smart, talented, and funny wrestler.
Yeah, I think the fact that he can get away with doing the bare minimum of wrestling and be one of the most popular wrestlers in New Japan, I think that says a lot about his character. Like, to be able to do that, I think for him to still be the King of Pro Wrestling, I think is the perfect nickname to give Toru Yano.
I think that's accurate. Yeah,
definitely. But moving, go on.
Oh no! I think the best thing from that match was probably the very opening, where both Toru Yano and Bushi ran straight to the outside to get away from the Bullet Club members, who basically made it a handicap match for the pair of them.
Yes.
And then, so Fale just pushed Chase Owens over and went to cover him, so to get them back in the ring.
Yeah, in a case of like, oh yeah, we'll just make sure a Bullet Club member wins, so just pin me, and then we can share the wins, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It was a really fun... It was a good character moment for them.
Yes, definitely. I think with it being Fale and Chase Owens, I think it definitely worked.
I was going to mention as well, when I think it was Fale who tried to steal Toriano's trophy, and then Toriano got really worried about it.
Oh, that was Chase, yeah. He went outside and grabbed the trophy and went to throw it. Toriano was like, no! My trophy! Yeah, just all the little comedy bits in that match were a really good way to like get you into night 2.
Yeah, Toriano is a charismatic enigma of a wrestler.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. If there is a New Japan wrestler that you want to get into to the more comedy style of wrestling, Toriano is your man. Absolutely.
He's probably beat one of your favorites.
Yes. Yeah, you probably look it up and he's probably beaten them. But moving on to the first tag match. I say the first tag match, the only tag match of night 2, in which Suzuki-gun of El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru defeated the tag team called 1 or 8, which was Ryusuke Taguchi and Grandmaster Wato.
You tried. It's Ryusuke, but
thank you very much. I thought like, oh great, I got Kanemaru right. I'm great.
Yeah, you got Yoshinobu Kanemaru, but it's Ryusuke.
Ryusuke. All right. Yeah. I'll remember next time. I'm sorry, Taguchi. I'm sorry. I like your rugby gimmick. And
your gimmick of hitting everyone with your ass.
I think we need to get this off our chest immediately in episode 1. Master Wato. Okay.
I like him.
So,
I'm just saying that now. I like him.
Okay. When the reason we want to talk about this is because when the New Japan Cup was going on at the very start of them coming back, they were airing these like vignettes of this like this fighter
like
in the woods. Yeah, this fighter in the woods that was fighting and practicing and training. It was like way to the Grand Master. We were expecting like this massive debut.
I was expecting Ren Narita to come back.
You were expecting Ren Narita.
I was saying that I believe he's still on excursion and probably will be until mid this year or next year.
Yeah. But it turned out to be Grandmaster Wato, and we kind of soured on him kind of immediately just because of the look of the character, who I think the best way to describe him is the song Blue by Eiffel 65.
And also as Sonic with attitude.
And Sonic with attitude.
If Sonic was a Naruto character.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
If Sonic was a human.
But I think it's safe to say, in this match, he definitely proved us wrong. He is actually a really, really good wrestler.
He's a good junior wrestler, definitely.
Yes.
I thought he was a good wrestler when he debuted, but like he was like really sloppy.
Yeah, he was like coming back into the New Japan style after coming away from
he was sloppy in this too with that bot 619.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he did botch the 619.
Yeah.
This
like,
was.
I love. Oh, sorry.
This was definitely the match where I noticed some things that was kind of like, ooh, that didn't really go well. Like, I believe the cutoff, or sorry, like the way that the heels got on top was, I think it was Kanemaru was just running the ropes back and forth.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
And they just let him do it. And then Desperado just came from behind and hit Taguchi. And we were just like, oh, that was it. I see.
Yeah, there might have been some timing issues in this match. The actual wrestling was good, though. This was a fun match. It was a fun match to watch.
Yeah, it was a fun match to watch. I just think like there were just some parts where you just turned around and went, what? And Suzuki-gun came out with a win, which I think is fair. I don't think it's time for Wato to win a match yet. Win a title. But yeah, a very serviceable match. Again, I would say it was was it better than God Tekka's?
I enjoyed it more than God Tekka's. Okay. It was more than a decent tag match. It was a good tag match.
Yes, yeah. Minus the accidental botches or mistimings, I think definitely was a much better match. And we came to the halfway point of Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 with Shingo Takagi defeating Jeff Cobb to retain the Never Openweight Championship.
And yeah, I think the all I have on my notes is this was just a great Never style match, which I think you're much better at describing this, Lulu, of what a Never style match is.
Well, I think this is probably one of the best technically wrestled matches. Like for storytelling, the main events were where there was at, but this is probably one of the better technical matches in terms of just letting two wrestlers be good wrestlers at each other. Because Jeff Cobb and Shingo are both really hard hitters, big guys. I mean, Jeff's obviously bigger than Shingo, but Shingo's pretty bulky and battering each other, as they should do, because that's what Never should be. Is it's just really strong strikers, really big power moves, massive definitely. Lariats, and it was a fun match. We should say that Jeff Cobb is also a member of the Empire, so all of the Empire members lost all 3 of their matches over the 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, which is an odd decision.
Choice.
Yeah,
we'll have to see where that goes, but I really like this match. Shingo won with Last of the Dragon, and it was a great match. There was some really good, just massive lariats, some great selling didn't he do a pumping bomber, and Jeff did fully did a inside out flip bump.
Yeah, which you do not expect from someone the size of Jeff Cobb, where he took it and
weightlifter till type guy.
Yeah, it's one of those matches again where there's not much to say about it other than just go watch it. It's really good. It was one you can definitely enjoy just on its own. Yeah, if you want to know more about the Never style of wrestling, or the strong style that New Japan is kind of, or Japanese wrestling is renowned for, that's a really good match to start off with.
Same as Shingo and Will Osprey in the G1, which is also a really good Kings Road strong style mixed match.
Yes, definitely. I don't think there's much else to say about that match. Just go watch it, please.
Do you have anything to say, Rico?
I was going to say, ignoring a spoiler who won, we didn't really say much about the match, which is why you should go watch it, find out what actually happened in it.
Yeah, even you guys knowing who won, you would still forget that, by the end of the match, and you'd be like, who's winning, and then, oh yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, well, it's very... very good at that. Yeah, it drew you in. It's one thing New Japan is very good at is false finishes.
Yes, definitely.
Because finishes end the matches. They just do. But you can believe when someone covers someone that they could get the 3 count.
Definitely.
Do you have anything to add, Flips?
I don't believe there's anything to say other than this was really pleasant in juxtaposition to the G1, I believe, that Jeff Cobb had.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb did not have a great G1.
In our eyes, at least.
Yeah. We're not sure why. The matches just didn't seem to click.
Especially when we went into Jeff Cobb Suzuki, because we were expecting a really good hard-hitting match, and it was 9 minutes.
It was just a 9-minute match that Suzuki just won. That was the best thing about the match, is that he won in 9 minutes.
Yeah, and there was, maybe it was ring rust, because obviously he hadn't been wrestling. I think one of his last matches was his match against Moxley on Dynamite, and that was all the way in February.
Yeah.
So, that was in February. The G1 was in September. That's 7 months where he's probably not been doing as much wrestling as he would have been, because he is signed to a full-time New Japan contract, and New Japan was
he
off.
Was he in New Japan, the USA division? Because I can't remember if he was in that tournament. Yeah, but I think again, it's still that style. That style is still different. There's still that Americanized style of New Japan, but then going back to full-on Japanese New Japan style, it's very hard to get in, to get back into stride.
It was disappointing, because he's a great wrestler.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Jeff Cobb. He's brilliant, but it felt like his matches didn't click as much in the G1. This was a return to form for him.
Yes. And moving on to, I think for me, was the Dark Horse match of the main events obviously took the spotlight, but this match is I was really excited for this one. This was Sonada defeating Evil, who, for context-wise, they were both in the faction LIJ, which is Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Close enough.
Close enough. Cool. Look it up. Listen to the ring announcer say he's
You
better
tried, and that's all matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were in the same faction together for a long time, and
Well, since Sonada joined, so that'd be about 2016, I believe.
so yeah, it's a fair amount of time to be in the same faction. And this year, after the New Japan Cup, in which Evil won, he turned on Tetsuya Naito and joined Bullet Club. So this is very much the story. This was the story we expected to come to Wrestle Kingdom.
We should note this is the third match in this series where they fought in the New Japan Cup before Evil turned heel
Yes.
and joined Bullet Club, where Evil destroyed the Sonada like fairly easily.
Yes.
Because he was adopting a sort of like the story in the New Japan Cup was Evil was doing anything to win. He would do whatever it takes, basically, and he was breaking people in his like quest to win. So he destroyed Sonada and won. They then fought in the G1, where Sonada beat Evil to win his block, and then they have now faced again at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes, and I really enjoyed this match just because of like you say, the story behind it. Of these two guys who know each other so well. One of them's turned to the darker side in Bullet Club, and just it was just so much story. And we have to give our condolences to the ring announcer who died twice.
Yeah. I was waiting for this.
Obviously, this is Breaker's favourite point in the match, in which Evil runs Sonada into the barricade, but he hits him so hard that the barricade hits the table behind it and just flips over, knocking the ring announcer over.
He was like, he tumbled backward and just, it's like starfish down on the floor.
Yeah. and just as they got back up, they did it again, and it was just, we couldn't stop laughing for those like few minutes afterwards. It was perfect.
It was beautiful.
Absolutely perfect. But again, just a very enjoyable match. And I think it was a really good feel-good moment to see Sonada beat Evil at Wrestle Kingdom, especially when he came second in the G1. And because I was very behind Sonada in the final of the G1.
Which is also an excellent match to watch, the G1 final.
Yeah, the G1 final was fantastic. But yeah, seeing him get his like Wrestle Kingdom moment was really feel good. Got you ready for like the second half of the show, kind of like what Tanahashi Great Okan did, where it was like, yeah, this is the next few matches gonna be awesome, and they were, they really were.
Yeah, the way you said that, they weren't, but yeah, they were.
Yeah, they definitely were. Speaking of those matches, we came to the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, in which Hiromu Takahashi defeated Taiji Ishimori of Bullet Club. And again, I have a one-word note for this, and it is great. It was. Yeah. It really was. I think the only reasoning we had for Phantasmo Takahashi being so slow is because we thought that they were going to save everything for the junior heavyweight match on night 2. And I think it's safe to say they definitely did that. Yeah, so Takahashi Ishimori was just a brilliant junior heavyweight match in terms of the pacing. It was such a fast-paced affair. Like, again, exactly how we expected the first match to be with Phantasmo Takahashi. But, like, this was definitely the much better match out of the two.
It's surprised you didn't mention that one spot with Takahashi.
Which one was that?
They were brawling outside the ring, and like they went to the ramp. Takahashi ran up the ramp to the entranceway, then sprinted all the way down, and like he had to wonder what he was trying to do, and then I think he was doing the super kick. Then Ishimori just grabbed his leg and he bashed.
Yeah,
it looked like he bashed his head down.
Yeah, that was certainly a mad Takahashi moment, where
Yeah.
just the I wish we'd got a screenshot of it when we were watching it, but the face Takahashi was making as he was sprinting down, where he's just grinning his face up as he's running, it just accentuates how fantastic Takahashi is in terms of character.
Yes, I'm a genius. Oh no.
Oh no, it didn't work.
I say that in the most nicest way possible, but
Yes. I think for a co-main event, this was definitely a great co-main event to set you up for the hype of the main event.
I thought you were going to segue into it like that for the hype of.
The hype of... Damn it.
Come on, we're rank how much?
Drum roll. Drum roll. Do we have a drum roll?
Do
it in post, do it in post.
Oh shit, do it.
Here. There we go. Okay.
Alright, cool. The main event, which was our boy, our savior, our god, Kota Ibushi, taking on Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, in which Kota Ibushi defeated him in a 48-minute battle.
And it made you feel every single minute of it.
Absolutely. Like, I can understand when people think of long matches and they go, oh, it's just going to be a lot of waiting around for stuff to happen. It's going to be so slow. You do not move your eyes away from this match. This is a fantastic main event.
We all thought we were going to be tired when we came into this match, but then it then turned out we were all awake the whole time.
Yeah, there was that's every 10 minutes there was that surge of energy where you're just like, yeah, keep going, keep fighting. And definitely, in my opinion, definitely the best night of the best match of night 2. Definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yes.
You could see it on the pair of them as well. Seeing as this was basically a 50-minute match, we can call it a 50-minute match.
Yes.
Jay was red by the end of this because of how much he'd taken. It was brutal. It was great.
I think as well, post-match, I think told the story fantastically as well, with Jay being carried away by the Young Lions, and he's just got his arm outreached to the titles, because he wants them, but he's being dragged away from them, and he just leaves the shot still reaching for them. I just thought that was a beautiful ending to the match.
Yeah, and before that, you had him still trying to fight Ibushi because he didn't realize he'd lost.
Yeah, as if he'd been knocked out by the Kamigoye knee, and only just realized, oh wait, I've lost. No, mission failed.
It was a hard fought match, and it was 50 minutes of action. There was no time to breathe. Almost, it was beautiful.
Because the bits in the middle when you were waiting for stuff to happen, we were too busy talking about what had just happened to realize that they'd just been selling on the floor for 2 minutes, which I think is the perfect way for a match to happen. Is you see the move happen, you turn to the person next to you and go, that was fantastic, and then you look back and you go, oh, they're still going. It just constant action and action throughout the match. And I don't think Jay White looked bad in defeat at all. It's Jay White. He's one of the best heels in the game right now. In terms of in ring.
Absolutely. Probably because he's not well known to a Western audience, because the comparison of WWE numbers versus New Japan numbers of who is such an underrated heel at the minute.
Absolutely.
He's if you know anything about AEW, he's their equivalent to MJF. He absolutely is.
Yeah.
He's a top tier heel. He knows exactly how to push buttons.
Anything with Chris Jericho, I think.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. But that was night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. What is your guys' main thoughts on night 2 in a nutshell?
Infinitely better than night 1.
Infinitely better than night 1.
Oh
Yeah.
It was better than night 1. It was more consistent than night 1 as well.
Yes. I think
I would rather have a consistent show where I at least enjoy every match than I would a show that starts out bad and gets really good by the end,
Yes.
or even
That's
worse, starts
mediocre.
out good and finishes
Massively.
terribly.
Massively mediocre night.
Yeah, that was night one for sure. I definitely, I think Wrestle Kingdom 15 in general, I think was still a fantastic 2 nights of wrestling. Whether it's one of the best Wrestle Kingdoms, I think is up for debate. I think that's definitely up to your taste of your matches, whether you're invested in, the matches that we said weren't very well paced or more serviceable. But I think it's definitely still, the show itself was overall great.
I certainly liked it. I will say, I don't think it was as good as 14.
No,
last year's. I really loved last year's Wrestle Kingdom.
I think having the story of the main event definitely helped that as well. Of Naito coming in with nothing, coming out with everything. But yeah, anything else to add on Wrestle Kingdom 15 before we wrap up the main? Well, no, we move on to the following night.
Yeah, I was going to say the announcer deserves all the credit.
Oh my god, we completely forgot to talk about the announcer. You are so correct.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy was amazing.
This guy, I believe, from just checking notes, I believe his name is Noritake Kinashi, who is a comedian and actor in Japan. And just look him up. Just look him up. I that's all you need. All I need to say about him.
Look up his fabulous hair.
Just look up the hair. Just put in like Kinashi hair. You'll get it. You'll understand. And then watch New Japan Wrestle Kingdom and come back to us and say how much you love him. That's all you need to do.
I just looked him up, and one of the images is him like an old man just with guns all over his, like he is guns, like an old man with guns just on his body.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think that's the best way to end night 2.
And a man he turned to guns.
So following Wrestle Kingdom 15 was, of course, New Year's Dash, which was the very next night, and I don't think we're going to talk about the entire show because really the matches didn't particularly matter that much. I think that's safe to say.
Well, New Year's Dash is a glorified house show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for people who don't know what happens in New Year's Dash, you don't know who's wrestling and what the matches are until you're in your seat watching the show. And they will announce the card as of the night. So it's meant to be this kind of like surprise. So it's a surprise show, which I think the match was the show was fine. I think we expected it to be a bit more than what it ended up being. But I think the best thing to talk about is kind of the storylines that came out of it. One thing we forgot to mention in the Wrestle Kingdom talk was the fact that after the Ibushi Jay White match, a certain Sonada came out and basically politely challenged Ibushi for the titles, and he accepted. So that's definitely a match that's going to be happening. I'm going to presume at New Beginnings, if not Dominion. Or is that too far away? I'm not sure.
Dominion's well in the summer. It'll be New Beginning.
Be New Beginnings. Excellent.
I do want to comment on the fact that Sonada had probably, considering he had a match earlier on the night, he had changed into a fabulous suit.
Oh,
it was an exquisite suit.
No man has worn a suit as well as Sonada.
Have you not played Yakuza, Ian?
Not yet.
You should.
And that'll be the subject of a future topic.
Yes.
Ooh.
And also a future segment that I'm teasing now.
Yeah, I think the big story, I would say, is the Empire coming out of this one. Because the way they came out for their 6-man tag match really showed what story they were going for. With Will Osprey just walking out, getting in the corner, and just looking like the most pissed off man in the world.
Like
he looked angry.
You could tell from his face he was not happy that he'd lost his match. And I think the post-match promo definitely showed that as well, where it was just like, you guys think we're jokes, we're the Empire, and we're going to show you... Oh, the Unified Empire, isn't it now?
Oh, the United Empire?
United Empire, yes.
Although saying that, I don't think they have actually changed the name. I think that was just him trying to say that they were all unified.
Yes.
But, yeah, I didn't... I think that was probably the biggest story thing coming out of it.
Yes, there were a couple of like stare downs. Like El Phantasmo and Ishimori posed with the junior heavyweight tags after their match, so that's looking like that's going to be happening for the junior heavyweight tags. Where in the final match, Tanahashi and Shingo Takagi had a stare down, along with Sho and Hiromu Takahashi, and obviously Sanada Ibushi, which we mentioned earlier. So they haven't really made a big storyline arc. They've just kind of set up what's happening with every title, other than the heavyweight tags, which I think will eventually get the story.
We should mention as well of Tomohiro Ishii pinning Jay.
Yes, that was a very, very interesting choice for Jay to take the pinfall the night after losing the main event. Because I think the big thing we're expecting, I think this is safe to put on the podcast, is our theory is that Jay White's not going to be the leader of Bullet Club by the end of 2021.
Yeah, I can't see him carrying on for much longer. He's had a fantastic run, like absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
He's been a brilliant VC leader, especially seeing as he basically sort of just had to roll into Kenny Omega's role after he left in 2018.
Yes.
2018. It's not 2019, rather.
Yes.
God, it feels longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
But he's basically sort of just had to roll into that storyline, and he's really made it his own, and he's made Bullet Club feel like a threat again.
Yes,
he absolutely. He's really, really done a solid job, and he's been a fantastic, like, old school style heel while doing that. Saying that, I still think, given that he is consistently losing now, because he couldn't win the G1, because he got beat by Ishii in the final there as well.
He did, yes.
Well, not in the final, but he got beat in his final match.
Yes.
And if he had won that, he would have won A block to face Sanada, but he didn't. And considering that he couldn't get the win over Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom, he could get it, obviously, in the G1 and whatever the pay-per-view that I forgot earlier is. I think they're setting something up with that someone's going to take over from him, especially because Bullet Club didn't have him for half the year.
Yeah, they kind of formed this like all Japanese part of the faction. So you had like Ishimori, Evil, Jado, Gedo, like running the shop basically, while Jay White and Kenta were in the USA.
And Chase and Tama and those sorts of people were not able to be in Japan.
Yes, but they definitely kept the faction alive while the main boys weren't around. I think getting Evil in definitely helped with that. But yeah, other than that, I don't really think New Year's Dash was overly excitable. I think you said while we were watching it, Lulu, that it was the kind of the least eventful New Year's Dash in a long time.
It's one of the least eventful I can remember for setting anything up. Like, we had, like, the 2019 one had Jay cut a promo on Tana saying he was going after the belt and that he was going to, start the Switchblade era. We had, I don't really remember much from last year, but, and obviously we've had times where, like, people haven't shown up or have shown up, and we didn't really have any of that. It was sort of more of a subdued just setting up of things.
Anything to add, Flips and Breaker, on New Year's Dash?
I think Lulu sums it up perfectly. While the matches were good, there wasn't much story being told that went further than, Osprey being angry and Jay White losing.
Yeah. Breaker?
Yeah, pretty much that. Pretty much what they said.
Excellent. Yeah, so that was New Year's Dash, and I think
it's safe to say we're excited for what New Japan's going to be doing in 2021. We're definitely still going to be watching it.
Oh, absolutely.
So with the discussion of Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash over, I believe we're going to end the podcast here for now. This episode is kind of like our, necessarily like an introduction, but kind of just getting us off the ground and just seeing if this is something that we could do on a regular basis and just like get the feel for it.
Our chapter 0.
Our chapter 0, if you would be so inclined to say. But we do have some wonderful ideas for future episodes, including cool stuff we've found, like talking about like new wrestling merch or new games or anything that we just think, wow, that'd be really cool to talk about. It's mainly going to be like the merch side of things, though, because people be wearing a lot of merch.
We like t-shirts.
We like t-shirts.
And action figures.
We also have a segment called Free Ep Sales Rep, where one of us is going to bring in a particular thing that they want to talk about, kind of like a show and tell kind of style, and the other hosts are going to discuss and ask questions. And it's kind of opening up this like new world of things to not only the co-hosts, but also to you guys. And hopefully you may find something that you'll become a big fan of. Who knows?
Just like we want to welcome you into the world of wrestling, we also want to try and broach other fandoms and make sure that you know that we're not just going to talk about wrestling. We're going to try. We want you to see that we share your interests and get you into wrestling as a shared interest with us.
Absolutely. And the other kind of segment we've got is so far named Ian Hasn't Seen Anything, where basically I haven't seen a lot of things, especially movies. Mostly movies. I am a terrible person for not seeing movies, and this is basically my way of forcing myself to watch a movie.
For you to become cultured.
Yeah, for me to become cultured.
He's a man of culture.
Yes.
So we're going to make him a man of culture.
Yes. So the first segment of that will be on the film Die Hard, which I have not seen, for it apparently is the best Christmas movie that we are now going to watch in January.
It is.
And just like that.
And just like that, I have now made several enemies just by saying I haven't seen Die Hard. Excellent.
But he will have by the next time you hear our voices.
Yes, absolutely.
And he can tell you his thoughts on it then.
Yes. And obviously, we'll give you guys the basic news, not just wrestling news, but like, potential gaming news, movie news, anime, just stuff that we're excited to talk about in terms of geekdom. Just anything geeky, we'll probably talk about it if we're so interested in it. And along with, like we've done today, reacting with Wrestle Kingdom and other pay-per-views, we're also going to try and add our own predictions. We're not going to do anything like punishments or anything like that. We're just going to do it for a bit of fun, to try and just get a bit of excitement going for like who's going to win this month's pay-per-view, or something like that.
And if it's a G1, I'll win and smash all of them.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. There's no question.
Or
that's where it's taken for disaster.
But if it is the G1, I will be making all my predictions via D20 rolls. And we're to see how random chance treats us.
Yes. So get ready for that when the G1 returns in 2021. But with that, I believe that's everything for this podcast episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Geeky Grapplers. If you want to check out anything else or keep up to date, we are on Twitter at Geeky Grapplers.
We have no tweets.
We have 0 tweets at the moment, but we'll definitely have one by the time this episode comes out.
You can find us complaining about stuff. Mostly
most likely, yes. My name's been Ian. This has been Lulu, Flipper, and Breaker. And hopefully we will see you guys in the second episode of the Geeky Grapplers podcast.
And if you did enjoy this first episode, for some reason, God help us, please hit the subscribe button and ding that bell, because I've always wanted to say that.
Yes, there we go.
I'll say that all the time, wouldn't Let's not say that all the time.
Are we really?
No, I think we should say it more. I think we should say it like at several points during the podcast.
Yeah.